Hi, having a great day. You're watching JUG Entertainment, and for this video, I will be talking about this new Superman Lois episode that just came out. It was amazing, like wow, really incredible. I think it was episode 9 if I'm right, and it was called something like the last 30 days or something like that. I'll put the title in the title of the video. But yeah, the episode was really good. Like wow, this episode was amazing. I'm gonna be going you my full-on spoiler review on it and really talk about the spoilers and spoiler discussion, giving you my breakdown of the episode, some things that you might have missed, some things that are going to be really important to the plot, my own predictions and theories for the rest of the show. Well, I think we only have like 6 episodes left, so honestly this is starting to wrap up and everything, so it's really getting really close and everything. So yeah, it's just really exciting to be at this stage of the show, and I can't wait to talk about this episode with you guys because this episode was truly something special that has a lot to offer. So yeah, let's get started. So, to get started, we pick up with Allie getting set free after Lucy tricked her dad. And this is obviously was like the kind of cliffhanger last episode, and we pick up right from there. She gets set free, and then she goes through the portal that we saw the last episode where all the people died except for Anderson. Well, she goes through that portal with Bizarro's suit, so it seems like she really needed Bizarro's suit or the pendant to cross, and she ended up crossing with Bizarro's suit, which I thought was super smart. And I was like, that's pretty smart. And then Superman chases after her, even though they're like, no, you're not gonna pass through. He does like this really cool thing where he flies around like super fast to gain speed, and then he crosses through, even though like his suit kind of gets destroyed and everything. That was super cool. I was like, that's super awesome. So it basically starts off really fast, right where we picked up from last episode. I thought that was really good. I thought it picked up nicely. It's definitely gonna do amazing if you want to bench the show after like you've seen it for the first time, and then you want to like bench it all. It's gonna do amazing with benching, because that honestly was like seamless, kind of like from last episode to this episode, seamless. So that's really good. Then from there, we see a montage where we kind of see that Timberland disappeared for like 30 days, I think, for a whole month, which is why the episode is called something with 30 days. So first of all, that's really cool. I like that level of detail to the episode title. That's cool. However, we get this really cool montage. I mean, at least in my opinion, I think it was a really good montage. What everybody's doing with their life. Lois, Jonathan, Jordan, basically everybody, what everybody's doing with life, as well as like what's going on with the world, like what's going on with natural disasters, like what happens whenever a plane is about to crash, and we see like Steel saves it, so that was super cool. I was like, oh no, the plane's just gonna crash, and no, Steel saves it, which I thought was super awesome. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of Iron Man whenever the nuclear bomb was going on in the Avengers, whenever he like fixed it up. It kind of reminded me of that for some reason, but no, it was super awesome. I was super happy to see Steel do something really cool, and I'm super happy to just see him back in action after we really hadn't seen him for a while because he got hurt. So it was really cool to just see him back into action. That was really good. And then we got to see kind of how the media's taking it and everything. So basically, everything this montage really worked. It was really awesome, and I was like, that's perfect. Like, we're Superman and everything. All that worked perfectly. Lois being sad that Clark isn't next to her, and whenever she's sleeping and everything. All that. Perfect. That was really good and amazing. So first of all, that's really cool. And then from there, we get divided into different storylines. So let's start with Jordan's storyline, which is his Superboy storyline in this episode, which is super cool. I'm really happy that he's finally starting to use his powers, and it seems like he's going to use them for really good stuff, because this episode uses powers amazing. Like wow, it was really good. So first, we see that he keeps training in the montage. We see that he's still training with his grandpa, and he's definitely doing an amazing job. He definitely has trained a lot. You see him like shooting lasers and like aiming at the bottles and really not missing, and punching the bag all the way back and everything. So like he really is doing amazing. And then from there, he goes to Lana's major campaign, where it turns out that I think it's that day of it's gonna be the mayor election, where like they fully say who won and everything. So it's really gonna get to that point. That's super cool. I'm like, ooh, that's super interesting. I really make some really interesting plots and storyline for this episode, and that includes this one where Jordan goes in there and he's like talking to Sarah and everything, and then he hears that there's a problem. A fire is going completely off the rails, and guess who's there? Kyle, Sarah's dad. So of course he wants to go and help, and he does. He tells Sarah some excuse, and then he goes with the hoodie and he saves his life, which was super cool. I was like, that was really awesome. He uses super speed, he flies, which is super cool, through the window and everything. I thought that was super cool. Like that was really nice, and the CGI definitely worked there. And then we see like Steel gets there. He kind of takes care of the fire, and he recognizes that was Jordan. So that's really sucks. So Jordan's like, okay, Jordan and Jonathan have a talk where it's like, okay, I gotta talk to my mom and confirm that that I'm doing this vigilante thing and everything before she finds out by Steel. However, even with that, it was too late, because Steel did tell her before that, and that kind of sucked for Jordan because he got in trouble. However, this show actually made for some really nice scenes. I was like, wow, this is actually doing for some really nice scenes. First, Lois kind of like lecturing Jordan about like, no, you can't do this because you still live under my house and everything. And Jordan's like, no, I can't because these are my powers and this and that. So it made for some really cool things. Then Jordan reveals to her that his grandpa has been training him, which even gets Lois even more pissed. She's like, "Oh, hell nah!" And so then she goes and talks to her dad, because yeah, that's her dad. And they actually have like really nice bonding moments during that time, whenever they like find out this thing and everything. However, they find like an extra kryptonite bottle, which completely sets it off again with Jonathan after his problem with the extra kryptonite and everything. So let's move on to Jonathan's kind of extra kryptonite storyline real quick, and let's put this Jordan storyline to the side for a little bit because we can't move on without going over the different storylines. Let's move on to Jonathan. And Jonathan, earlier in the episode, whenever we went to Lana's major election thing, he got kicked out. Basically, he was getting criticized by a bunch of people over how he was taking drugs and how that completely shut off the football team. And like how seniors can't play anymore. That was the last chance to play, and they can't play anymore because of him and everything. So he was definitely going through a bunch of guilt, and it's understandable. People would get really pissed. It's understandable for both sides. You understand why Jordan is like why Jordan did what he did, but at the same time you do understand and you do feel bad for Jordan. You're like, yeah, this really sucks for Jordan. But at the same time, you understand the other side, and you understand that these are basically the consequences that Jordan has to pay for his actions, and it makes sense. So I really like that this show really explores that like third dimensional thing where it's like nobody's fully right and nobody's like fully wrong, except for like maybe a Superman, you could argue, but besides that, nobody's ever fully right, nobody's ever fully wrong, which I absolutely love. I think it's my favorite part of the show. It's really really good. So let's want to moving on to that. He gets out of there because he's obviously really like he doesn't want to disturb anything, and he really is hurt by all the people's comments and everything. And later in the episode, whenever Lois and then her dad find that extra and thing, they go and talk to Jonathan. They're like, "Okay, we're done. You gotta tell us what's going on. You gotta tell us who's selling this to you because it's gonna get really dangerous. The place that burned down on fire and everything. Have this. We need to know who's doing this." And so he's like, "Okay, it depends. Maybe this, that," and they kind of negotiated to the point where it's like, "Okay, she'll be safe, or whoever is selling the things will be safe. With the power of the DA, the grandpa will keep her safe, and it's gonna be completely anonymous and everything." So that's really cool. So then he's like, "Okay, fine. I'll tell you who it is." And he brings in his girlfriend, which I think her name is Candace, if I'm right. I think it's Candace. And so I guess revealed to that, and then she kind of explains herself. Like she explains that she was in a really tough situation with her dad, and economic status and everything. So it was really really bad for her. And we kind of get her side of the story, which I think was really nice. And I think it's really nice to finally get this chest, this thing off of her chest. She specifically says it herself at the end of the episode, which is like, it's really nice to get this thing off my chest. She specifically says that as there. And then Jonathan as well, it's kind of nicer for him to just get it off his chest as well. So I really really thought that was really really cool and really awesome. So I was really happy about that. And then at the end of the episode, they don't come back into the very end of the episode. Whenever they're like just walking by, and he's taking it to her house, which I thought was really nice. Like he's a pretty good boyfriend. And then he kind of gets like this headache, and we're like, "Ooh, does that mean that he's gonna get powers?" I thought he was gonna get powers. I was like, "Ooh, he's gonna get powers. They're starting to activate. That's super cool." And then no, it's not that. But then she lets Candace walk alone. Which for starters, I thought Candace was about to get kidnapped there. I'm still not fully sure that she did get home. I still kind of feel like maybe she did get kidnapped for snitching out the person who was selling the kryptonite. Maybe not. We'll find out. However, Jonathan doesn't appear again into the very end. Whenever we see a different Jonathan, with the bizarre Jonathan, like he has like this leather jacket and like kind of like like I don't know what this eyeliner I think it is. I don't know what it's called and everything, which is super interesting. I was like, oh, interesting. That's the Jonathan we've been seeing from these set photos right here. So as you can see, they're finally starting to bring him in and everything, which I think is super interesting. And he seems like he probably has powers. I think he has powers. But however, I'm still not sure what it's fully about here. Like I'm very confused. I know that's a bizarre version of him. I think he's good because of the set photos. Like I said, he's a Superman, so I think he's good. But I'm not really sure what's going on here. You know what I mean? I'm definitely very, very curious. I think he could turn out to be good, and then at the very end be like, "Oh no, I'm secretly evil." I could see that. We'll find out what's fully on going on with him. But I think that's a really, really strong cliffhanger. Like a really, really strong cliffhanger. I think it really worked very well. And I'm really liking this Jonathan X Kryptonite storyline with selling drugs and not doing drugs, and then like how this is kind of damaging Smallville and the school environment and everything. I think it works really, really well. I think it's a very creative storyline to take after last season, and I really, really do love this storyline a lot. I think that it matures all the characters involved, including Jonathan, a lot. Especially, I think he gets enough. I think he gets a lot of character development, a lot of character development throughout these episodes, and specifically in the past ones, but this one as well. Like him talking to his girlfriend about it, talking to his mom about it, and everything, building the trust between each other. I think it works really, really well. So I absolutely love this storyline, and it's going on great. And I do wonder what happened to this Jonathan, because like I said, we see the bizarre version at the end. So I do wonder if they trade spots. I could see that, and I think that would be cool. I'm not entirely sure yet, but we'll find out very, very soon. So yeah, that was really cool. However, the change that happened with Jonathan's girlfriend, whenever she snitches out everybody and like she tells her where she thinks that the extra thing is coming from, this sets off the chain of events wherever General Lane has to go with Lois, and they kind of have to investigate if that's really true. If that place is still being used to like get this X kryptonite and being able to sell it and everything. So he kind of goes there and he takes Jordan with him just in case as a safety measure, and also to kind of hear and see if that's true because he has powers, so it's a lot easier for him to scan and everything. So I think it's super smart. I was like, that's smart, and I think that's super super cool. So first of all, that's awesome. They took up with him, and it kind of has like this really kind of complicated dimension with it because Lois doesn't want him to go because it's dangerous, and obviously she's going through this thing with Superman where he won't appear, so obviously she's gonna think it's even more dangerous and everything. So I really think that it makes for this really kind of nice and complex dynamic that I think the show really builds off very very strong. So going back, so they go there, and then it turns out that is the place. So then General Lane and Lois get off. They kind of want to see, they want to take a closer look. There's a specific reason why, but I already forgot it. So they just kind of want to take a closer look, and then they get caught, and then they get trapped and everything. And so they're like, okay, we're about to die. We're literally about to die. We had to call Jordan, and obviously Jordan with a superhero and cures them, and he goes and he gets it just in time. He laser beams the gun, which I thought was super cool, and he blows he blows his ice breath, which I thought was super awesome as well. And he like hits him and it breaks. That was super super cool. And then like this other guy has like laser eyes, and he's about to shoot him, and we're like, oh no, he's so screwed. And he gets his super speed, which I thought was super super awesome. I thought it was super cool the way it was done, the way the camera worked, the directing on the episode really really was amazing. Once again, Superman Lois never fussed with the directors. They did an amazing job getting each director, and they did an amazing job for this episode. Whenever the super speed happens, I thought that was super cool, super gripping. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I was like, yo, this is so cool. I was like, yes, this is so cool. This is Superboy. Like, he's awesome. He's amazing. So I was really hyped. I was personally like really, really hyped. I was super excited about to see that. And then he beats the guy, super speed and everything, like super, super cool. And he frees General Lane and Lois Lane, and they get out of there and everything. And then they send the DA to shut it down and everything, which I thought was pretty cool. And I thought it was a really nice way to get to see Jordan's complete improvement of his powers, like complete improvement. Like, wow, he really has improved a lot. And I'm absolutely loving where the season's taking him, his character direction, his powers and everything. I am really, really loving this. This isn't not the end of the storyline for Jordan. This episode, however, it doesn't end in a good note where him saving his mom and General Lane. In fact, it ends up in a bad note because he has to go back to Lana's major campaign after she already went, which I will move into that plan in a little bit. But going back to Jordan, he goes back there and they already went, and then Sarah talks to him, and she's like, if you're not gonna be a priority, we're done. And they end up breaking up, which I thought was terrible for Jordan, because Jordan obviously was saving people's lives, and the fact that this is the reason that has to be done is terrible. And it really does feel bad because it's not his fault. He has to keep it secret. You know what I mean? So it's just like terrible. But you understand Sarah as well. You're like, okay, I completely understand why she wants to break up with him, because honestly, I think in a regular relationship, I think that's a really nice cause to break up with somebody. I think if they won't have time for you, then maybe you should break up for them. So I thought it made for some really kind of compelling arguments for both sides, which I really, really liked. So that was really, really well done. However, obviously it was sad for both characters, but especially Jordan, who really has no fault in this. He really did not mean to do this. So that sucks for him. I really feel his pain in that moment. So then he goes, he's really sad, and he's having a great moment with his mom, which I was really, really nice. I thought the moment with his mom at the end of the episode was really nice, where she's like talking about how they grow up so fast and everything. And I thought it worked so well whenever she's like, I'm really proud of you. All that type of stuff, it worked really, really well. And then again, we go back to the Jonathan cliffhanger where he's like the bizarre version of himself, which I thought was super cool whenever Jordan kind of like walks in front and he's like ready to defend it, it just feels really awesome because, now he can actually do stuff, you know what I mean? Before, like, yeah, he had powers enough to do like really small things, but now he can actually do stuff. He can laser, he can ice spread, he can punch really fast, he has super speed. Like, he's a complete beast, and it's super awesome to see him like that. So I completely like how they did that with him at the ending scene. Alright, now moving on to Sarah's plotline, which I thought was another very interesting plotline. I kind of already touched on it at the very end with the breakup, but moving on more to Sarah's plotline, I thought she had a really nice plotline dynamic in this episode, and I think she's been getting a really nice dynamic in general after the post breakup of Kyle and Lana. I think Sarah being in the middle of it sucked for her, but I think it's made for some really interesting things in the show. So first of all, I think that it's really nice to see her relationship with her dad. I think they have a really nice and intimate relationship from daughter and son. I think they work completely well together. It's very believable. It's very realistic. I think you can definitely see all the love that they have for each other. Whenever he's at the hospital, you know what I mean? Kyle is amazing. Whenever he's at the hospital, you know what I mean? And then he looks really bad. And then like she goes to his apartment with kind of food, and she catches him like bleeding, and then we see the apartment, and it's just it's terrible. It's bad. It's really really bad. Like there's nothing there. There's literally nothing there. It's really really bad. And then he's like, I can't really. She wanted to make chilaquiles. He was like, I can't really do the chilaquiles right now. Can you leave them for later? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So that's the case. And then she's in the Lana's mayor thing, and she's like celebrating because she won, obviously. And he's like, yeah. And then she goes to her dad at the end, and he was like, how are you doing? Oh no, she talks to Lana about it, and she's talking to Lana, and she's like, which is her mom, and she's like, my dad is living under this terrible condition. Can you do this or that? And Lana's like in a rush, she's going through all these things. It's her mayor election day. She can't really deal with this right now. She's like, so she kind of tells him it's his fault. He did this to himself. It's not her fault. It's not her fault to blame. Nothing. It's his fault. I mean, it's completely understandable. You really understand both sides. Sarah obviously wants to help her dad, and that makes complete sense. And Lana completely does like So Lana's not wrong. It is Kyle's fault that he's like that. He did cheat. He ruined everything. So it does make sense. So honestly, you understand both sides, and as you can see, this show does that really well. It's always two sides to the story. It's never just one, which I think is kind of the key to the success of this show. It's really really well done. So Sarah in that moment realizes that, you know what, this might not be temporary, because Kyle had told her, because Sarah was like, why didn't you decorate your new apartment? And then Kyle was like, it's okay, it's a waste of time, it's going to be temporary. And Kyle really does believe that it's temporary. He really believes that they can fix their problems with Lana. And so yeah, he really has all this hope, so he really doesn't care for this apartment or nothing. He's just waiting to come back with Lana. And in that moment, Sarah realizes, you know what, this might not be temporary, this might be forever, and my dad has to get it together. So at the end of the episode, after Lana wins, she goes and talks to him, and she's like, you know what, this might be forever. You have to start taking care of this. You have to start decorating. You can't just sit here waiting for your life to get fixed up. You have to start doing something about it. So that was really, really like a really nice speech and everything. I thought that were I completely agree with that. So that was great. And also I really like the advice that Kyle kind of gave to Sarah, where he was like, you know what, it wasn't just me cheating, it was also the fact that I wasn't there for her all the time. Lana really deserved a lot better, and she wasn't my priority. That's basically what he said. He basically was saying she wasn't my priority, and he was basically trying to tell her daughter that, you know what, if Jordan's priority isn't you, then maybe this for the best that you guys aren't together, which I thought worked very well, because obviously Kyle would understand that side, and he would really gravitate towards breaking up with Jordan if that wasn't the case. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And Sarah takes this to heart, which is why they do end up breaking up, which, like I said, I don't blame her for doing. I obviously find it very tragic for Jordan, but it's not blamable for her to do it, because it really makes a lot of sense in the context of the story. So then at the end, they kind of bond together. Like, she's really sad about it, and they have a really nice money moment that I honestly completely loved, and I think they really work together so much as a father and son dynamic or relationship, that I really think it really elevates the show. And I think that's another amazingly done story where they really explore the human side of these characters. So I thought that was really really good. From there, we're going to move on to Lana, who has a little bit of a smaller storyline in here, but she does have like the big main event, which is the fact that it's her election day. Like, it's the election day. It's the day that we're going to announce who wins. And she ends up winning, which I thought was super awesome. I was like, yes, she wins. And obviously, I was pretty predictable that she was going to win, or else it would have been kind of a waste of time. But we did this whole thing, so I was pretty happy that she did win. And she did have some really nice moments with Lois. I thought that her moments with Lois were really nice. I really like that dynamic. I like the dynamic that Lois and Lana have, and I like the dynamic that Lana and Clark have. I think it's really cool how, like, you know, Lana was Clark's ex, however Lois still hangs up with her, and Clark still I think that's just a really nice relationship, because they're really just one of the best for each other. They're not trying to, like, oh, I'm gonna do this. No, I really like how mature the show is, where they're not taking it to become drama or anything. No, it's more like a maturity of everybody wants the best for each other. Yeah, it's really really cool. I absolutely love that. So yeah, and then so yeah, that's basically Lana's storyline. She kind of just went, and that was basically it. This is just a start of basically the rest of the season storyline, because trust me, she has a lot more to do as a mayor. If I had to make some predictions, I think she might have to deal with like the ex-kryptonite situation, which I think would be really awesome if it connected somehow to Jonathan's storyline with ex-kryptonite. You know what I mean? He was taking ex-kryptonite, and we had to, like, maybe she has to deal with it at schools, where like they're now going full on around with ex-kryptonite and the streets and everything. I think that would be really really awesome. I think that would be a really nice way to take a storyline. I don't really know where else they can take her storyline yet, because everything else is kind of with the bizarre world. So my guess is that she's gonna have to deal with the ex kryptonite, which I think is gonna be really really awesome. So then we're on to the last storyline of this that I'm going to be going over in this video. And I kind of wish I didn't put it last, but it's last. I'm so sorry. And that's going to be John Henry Adams' storyline with his daughter Natalie, who was really mad. She kind of made these things, this breakfast, and then she gave it to him. He ate it. It was all good and fun. And you see, like, she's really mad at him for some reason. We're like, why is she so mad? I didn't know why she was so mad. I was like, why is she so mad? And then it gets revealed, oh, it's the day that her mom died 1 year ago. It's the 1 year kind of like anniversary, I guess you would call it, that since she died, which just sounds really terrible. Anniversary of what? No, that sounds really bad. But it's been 1 year since the mom of Natalie died, or the wife of John died, and he really forgot. He genuinely forgot, which I thought it's really crazy. So he genuinely forgot, and obviously that's a really nice motive to why she would be pissed. Like I think I would be pissed too. You know, I think that's a really nice motive to why she would be pissed. I think it's understandable. Mostly, I think that the show has done kind of a okay job at writing Natalie in this show so far, and I think that this episode kind of elevated her, because I think it's really understandable why she would be mad. So I think that this time this is one of the times where I agree with her emotions. So that's good. That's good. I think that they're getting better at writing her character, which is really really good. So yeah, he forgets that, and you know, it's basically he's trying to say, he just tried to forget everything about her, everything about that situation, so that it wouldn't hurt him anymore. While Natalie is letting that situation fully consume him, so it's like a yin and yang situation where like they put a full on extreme edges where they should really be is in the middle. They're full on like from this side to this side. So you know what I mean. Natalie's like fully consumed by this, and John Ramos is completely over it. He doesn't want to know anything about it, and they should really be in the middle. I think that's the sweet spot, which I think that's where the show is eventually going to take them. So yeah, so we see that John Ramos is like having some reflection time in his band and his house, I think, and then he sees like these videos of Natalie being born, and you know, Lois from that universe, like handing her and telling her that, oh, she's so beautiful and everything. And it was just like a really nice emotional scene. You know, we see John Henry Adams start to cry and get really emotional over it, which makes a lot of sense. I thought it was a very human reaction, and I thought that was a really nicely done scene. I like the cinematography in that scene as well, was really nicely done. The way it looked, the way it got shot. So then we saw that scene, and then it kept going back to like a landscape of a sunset that also made it look really nice. So overall, I thought that whole scene was done very very well. I absolutely loved that. The music worked to its favor as well. Basically everything about that scene really worked, and that's why I think John Henry Irons works so well as a character, because he feels very human, very real, very suffered in pain, but he just really tries to hide it. And I think it's one of the scenes where we really get to explore that, you know, he really does have all this pain stored in him, and I think that worked very, very well. So that was amazing. And then we see him try to make it up to his daughter by making the food, and then watching the video with her of her getting born, of her being born, with her mom. And I thought that worked completely well. I thought that was an amazing story that they had. It did feel like completely out of place compared to everything else that was going on. But honestly, I don't mind, because I'm such a big fan of John Henry Irons, and I think that this storyline actually feels very human to them. I think that makes a lot of sense as well. So overall, I don't mind, but it does feel detached from the story. So I can understand why some people might not like it. I don't know if some people don't like it, but if you don't like it, I can understand why you wouldn't like it in this episode. But I personally felt very, very nicely that this storyline was very nicely done, and I absolutely love to see it in this episode. So yeah, that was basically all the storylines that happened in this episode. Predictions for next episode, which comes out in a month, which is crazy. We're gonna have to wait a month. I don't want to wait a month, but fine. If we have to, okay. So pretty sure the next episode, first of all, we are gonna explore the bizarre world, which we saw from the preview or from the ad, where Superman's like in this bizarre world, and the family is kind of like all dressed in black, almost all emo, which is really weird. And here they're like celebrities, where like Jordan and Jonathan are like, oh, we have to pretend like that's the perfect dad again, and he's like, not this again. So it's like they're celebrities this time, and I don't know. It's gonna be some really weird crap. I already know it's gonna be really trippy, but I'm fully down for it. I really want to explore this bizarre world. I think it's really cool that we're finally gonna get to see it, and we're gonna see exactly what happens. So I'm fully down for it. I think it's gonna be super super fun, and I can't wait to see that. As for storylines that are going on right now with the different characters, I already said that I think Lana's gonna have to do with the kryptonite situation, which I think would be a really nicely done thing to kind of make her have to clean up the streets and the schools and everything. I think that'd be a really nice storyline, especially kind of connecting back to Jonathan's storyline. I think that'd be really really nice. I think Sarah and Kai are going to keep going closer together. I don't know exactly where they might go after this episode. I think they might have to try to move on both together. So I think that might be the way that they might take this. So perhaps that's the way. Then I think Jordan is gonna eventually come to terms that he's gonna have to fight Jonathan's bizarre version. I don't fully trust Jonathan's bizarre version. I really think that he's gonna be good, and then at the end turn out to be evil. I do think that's how it's gonna turn out to be, and I think that that's gonna happen. I think Jonathan is gonna end up fighting Jordan. And I think it's gonna be super cool. But I think it's gonna be obviously the bizarre Jonathan versus the regular Jordan, which I think is gonna be super super awesome. And then as for Lois, I think I don't honestly don't know where she's gonna go. I think this episode did really nice and to explore like how being a single mother does really hurt and everything. I think that episode did a really nice job to explore that. However, I don't really know where this show's gonna take Lois at in the next episode because they really didn't set up any storyline for her. Maybe with Lucy, where they explore what I don't know. I mean with Lucy, maybe with Miss Peppo, the newspaper thing. Maybe with that, Lucy's also there. I think maybe they could do something with Lucy as well. I don't really know what they're gonna do that with her in the next episode. She might not even be in the next episode, except for her bizarre version. We'll see, but I'm definitely very, very curious. So yeah, that's basically all of the storylines for this season, for this episode. And Steel, I don't know what they're gonna do with Steel either. I think that they're in a really nice spot where like he has a really nice relationship with his daughter right now. So I think it might. I think they might. Most of these characters are gonna get benched for the next episode to explore this bizarre version of the show, which I'm fully down for, and I think it's gonna be amazing. So yeah, that was my spoiler review for this episode. As you can see, it was really long because there was a lot to talk about. But honestly, I'm really happy that this episode was as good as it was. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I really hope you enjoyed the spoiler review and breakdown. And if you did, then just make sure to leave a like. It really helps out the video, so please leave a like. As well as leave it in the comments anything that you want to comment, breakdown, best favorite parts of the episode, least favorite parts of the episode, anything you want to talk to me about. Tell me that down in the comments, and subscribe for a lot more content. I do want Super Lois breakdown every single time an episode comes out, so subscribe for all the content as well as a bunch of other content on shows, movies, all that type of stuff. Just subscribe for all that content. And yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And this is JJ Entertainment out.